Thank you for the introduction. It's been 9 days. And thank you for the attention of everyone who's been at our workshops. The speakers have just been introduced. You know the topic. We had asked for questions. We received some. We have 4 or 5 panelists and again, maybe 6, 7, 8 questions. So it's best we go to the questions, see what answers we get. No doubt it will bring up more questions. So I will say to you that, and hopefully I'll come to it at the end again, that Swami Dharma and myself will be at the boutique tables tomorrow at 1 o'clock for more, questions about the admin side of it, the nitty-gritty of the course side of it, so we don't need to cover that in the satsang at this level. So thank you for the questions. Again, some were addressed to the panel, some were addressed to specific panel members. Here's the first question. In the past few lectures, we spoke a lot about the reasons for combining yoga with Ayurveda and the theory behind Ayurveda. But I'm still confused with what Ayurveda actually is. So can you please provide us with an overview on Ayurveda? So let me just say that, Ayurveda means, Ayur means life, Veda means knowledge. So it's a system that gives us knowledge of life. Now, I studied Ayurveda having no medical background, but having a desperate need for some knowledge about life rather than disease. Like I often say, it rescued me from the diet and exercise dogma that I'd been raised with and failed at so many times. Whatever the exercise routine was, whatever the diet was that I was attempting, I failed. Ayurveda I succeed in because it's like a multimodal science that honors the full self of me, and it gives me many different things. It brings me to nature. It brings nature as a medicine to heal me in many different ways through all my time, all my different stages of life. So it's really something that I also really got to understand very quickly, was that I am not exactly the same as you. So a one-size-fits-all medicine system that had always been described to me wasn't always going to suit me in every way. So it gave me a constitutional model that I could understand myself more clearly through the 5 elements linked to nature, a system of balance, which gave me options for cleansing, options for seasonal routines and daily routines. And then there's one thing that Dr. Ramkumar teaches me, and it was one of my main links to this, is that the fundamental problem with me wasn't because of some bacteria or some pathogen that was, carried because you had the cold and I caught the cold. What I suffered from was from the 3 A's, avidya, which is the ignorance, the lack of knowledge of my true nature. Aviveka, the failure of my own intellect. So when I learned this in college, it was called crimes against wisdom. Now, I find that's one of the things that people connect with Ayurveda, is that cause of disease. Because no matter how many times you tell me to do the right thing, I fail to do the right thing. I have to find what's the right thing for me, but I often fail to do it. So that's the aviveka. And it was a difficult thing to live with until I learned what it was, and it's common between all of us. And then ahamkara, that sense of separation that I have. So as I fail myself, as I suffer, I feel more and more separate from, apart from, lonely and exiled in my suffering, which makes it worse. So Ayurveda, being a sister science of yoga, also gives us the medicine of satsanga, and that has been one of the main medicines of my life, is to find a sense of belonging in a company like this. So I just wanted to say that because I came into the Sivananda Ashram and was introduced to Ayurveda in a Sivananda Ashram, and I felt very drawn to study Ayurveda, but I do not have a medical background, so I studied it from that personal need. And then I'd also like to put that question to Dr. Ramkumar. So can you provide us with an overview of Ayurveda? Something...
Om Namah Shivaya. It's good that you're confused. Out of confusion comes clarity. So I think it's not a bad thing to be confused. And Durga Leela has already taken all the words out of my mouth. She has explained Ayurveda better than the way I told her about this. But it's a vast subject and it's not easy to explain in a few minutes. But if I were to give one metaphor which encapsulates what Ayurveda is, it is the description that Charaka is one of the original Ayurveda teachers. He describes this body-mind consciousness complex as the equivalent of a lamp. You know, this lamp that you see sitting here, he equates the body to the lamp, the wicks in the lamp to the tissues in our body, the ghee or the oil in the lamp to the food that we put into our body, and the flame of the lamp as prana or the life force. So this body-mind consciousness complex is a wonderful gift. It is like this lamp where we want to keep the wicks burning well. For the wicks to burn well, the requirement is that there is sufficient food or sufficient ghee or oil in the lamp. Similarly, sufficient food in the right quantity. It is not excessive food, but right food in the right quantity at the right time is required in the body. And the wicks in the lamp will burn out in their natural course. Even if there is oil, at some point, the wicks will burn out completely. The same thing happens in the body. The tissues, through this life, burn out as we reach the end of our life. But what we can do to take care of the wicks, to take care of the tissues, is to ensure that there is no external or internal disturbance to the tissues. External disturbance to the flame of the lamp is wind, a strong gush of wind, or flies coming and sitting on the flame will put the flame out. For the body also, we can have an accident, we can engage in activities that are actually detrimental to the health of the body, and thereby we can lose life without living out its full course. Internally, completion of the oil in the lamp or the complete burning out of the wicks leads to the extinguishing of the flame. In the body also, whenever we are deprived of nutrition or the tissues have run their full course, that is when the prana leaves this body. So this is a metaphor that the texts give, describing the body-mind consciousness complex as a wonderful gift, equivalent of a lamp. Protect the flame of prana in the body the way you would protect the flame of the lamp. With this metaphor, you can keep building on the principles, the concepts. You know, Ayurveda goes into all aspects of life and living. Ayurveda is one side of the coin, yoga is another side of the coin, Vedanta is a third side. All of them address the same body-mind consciousness from different perspectives. Perhaps Ayurveda places greater emphasis on the body, yoga places greater emphasis on the mind, and Vedanta addresses the soul or the consciousness. So as one of my teachers said, where Ayurveda ends, yoga begins. And where yoga ends, Vedanta begins. So it's important that all these subjects are studied in depth in the context of taking care of the health for higher spiritual pursuits. And then this can go on and on. So should I stop here?
That's very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Arun, would you like to? So this is a brief overview of Ayurveda just to end confusion.
I thought Ayurveda was Vata Pitta Kapha.
You need to say again. I didn't. Is it on?
Hello? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought Ayurveda was Vata Pitta Kapha.
There you go.
No,
Give them that.
Okay, so that's not what it is. So a lot has been said about it. So obviously it's a medical system. It's a traditional medical system of India. So then there must be a doctor, yeah? So what is this doctor called? He's called a Vaidya. And a Vaidya means one who sees, one who knows, one who understands. And Ayurveda, as Durgaji said, is made up of two words. Veda would be that knowledge. It would be this particular knowledge. What is this particular knowledge? That refers to the first word. And the first word is Ayu. Ayu means life. So it's interesting to think that this, what we call a science of medicine, it names itself the science of life. So it gives you a clue of how it looks at health. It looks at health as that which is a barometer of the quality of your life. So as Dr. Ramkumar said the other day, in Ayurveda, health equates with happiness. So this is a good way for you to understand how an Ayurvedic physician functions. They want to see you happy, they want to see you well. And they realize that the secret to this happiness and this health is the quality of your prana. I don't think there's much more to say.
Thank you, Arun. So this one is for the panel, but I would like to bring it firstly to Dr. Ramkumar. And the question is, do you feel the West is culturally appropriating Ayurveda? Is it my accent? Culturally appropriating Ayurveda?
I am a strong believer in that nobody can appropriate any of the knowledge systems emanating from the Vedas. People may temporarily prefix or suffix their names, but that is never sustainable. If the Vedas, if Ayurveda, Yoga, Vedanta all have survived several thousands of years, it is not because of anything that we have done. It is because it is the knowledge of nature, it's the knowledge of life. And as long as there is this universe, there will be these knowledge systems. Nobody can take ownership of them. So I would not really be worried about it, worried that anybody is culturally appropriating it. In fact, sometimes I think the West uses these systems better today, whether it's Ayurveda or Yoga. In India, it takes a little more time for us in the current day to understand the value of many of the knowledge systems coming from the Vedas. And in the West, it is better appreciated and respected, if I were to say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. One thing that I would add to that, which I see a little bit of, is our consumer nature in the West. And so I could see that, and one writer said that Ayurveda and the doshas are not something to add to your consumer selfhood. It's not something that now you'll choose your soap, identifying yourself as a Vata. That would be rather a misuse of Ayurveda. And I can see that happening, as it does with most things, because most people want to turn on a profit on something that they can sell. So the consumer aspect could be there, but anyone else have something urgent to say about the cultural appropriation? Yes, of course.
What is perhaps happening is an intellectual appropriation, where systems like Ayurveda are being fitted into a contemporary or a Western thought process. The Western thought process is more reductionist, while the Vedic thought process is more holistic. And when you try to box a holistic system into a reductionist system, then we do not get the entire idea that is conveyed by these knowledge systems. So that is why many a time, some of us like to say, let's not talk about Vata, Pitta, Kapha too much, because that has been one way in which the West has tried to understand Ayurveda, by putting us into definite boxes or categories, and thereby forgetting that Ayurveda addresses the whole and not the parts. So intellectual appropriation, maybe it is happening, but cultural, I really don't think.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. So there's another part to this. How can we make yoga therapy, yoga, health education, and Ayurveda accessible to people in the West who do not have money to pay for private services? I'm offering that to any person that would like to talk about that. Swami Dharma.
So the question is about accessibility, and now the approach is very grassroots oriented. So if you are working on the individual level, this is most likely the way that you're going to reach out to people and to make it accessible to them. You can find through the yoga health education program and yoga therapy that people are making access into hospitals and clinics in this way, but that is costing a little bit for people to have access in that way. But the individual teacher or health educator can reach people on their own and connect with them. And part of the accessible yoga movement, you might be aware of accessible yoga with Jivana Heyman. He's another arm of this. And part of his mission and part of our mission, I think, as well, is to reach people who don't have access in communities that don't have access to yoga in those communities. So communities that are, we'd say, suffering from poverty and so on like this. So it's up to the yoga health educator themselves. Part of the mission is taking it out yourself and making it an act of your dharma and following your path in this way. So it's a very individual thing at this point. I believe it'll come on later on. Part of the mission of the IAYT is to bring yoga therapy into the healthcare system, to integrate it so that insurance is covering and then people have more access in this way. But for now, it's going to be very much up to each person to bring it out themselves.
Mm-hmm. Anyone? Covered that? Okay. Okay, what role does karma play in health and healing? I believe I'm looking at Swami Sitaramananda now. Swami Sitaramananda talked about the 12 areas of karma in satsang.
Ask again?
What role does karma play in health and healing?
Everything. Because of karma that we are born, because of karma that we have, we behave in such a way that we might have sickness. And because of karma also, we call it karmic disease, that we have disease. so that we can rethink. And because of karma also, that we'll meet the teacher, we'll meet the healer, we'll meet the doctor, that would put us on the right path of healing. So everything, in fact, is karma. I believe that I said one day, I don't remember, it looked like a long time ago, that everything is perfect. Everything, in fact, is perfect. Our life is perfect for everyone, and everything that happened also is perfect. I myself, I like to talk about karma under the point of view of be free from karma. That's my subject of interest. So what that means to see this life as an opportunity for learning, and how to not create new karma, and how to be free. So that is called spiritual healing, or how to be free from karma, how to transcend our karma. So that is the big part of our teaching.
Okay. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry.
So a great teacher was asked the same question: are all diseases, do they all come from karma? And he said, while that may be true, for us, we cannot think that way. We have to think that this disease may arise from congestion, this disease may arise from depletion, this disease may arise from inflammation, this disease may arise from conjugation of all three, this disease may arise from a poisonous snake bite, this disease may arise by, and so on and so on. And some diseases you cannot understand except through karma. So while it is true, as far as treatment plans go, as far as treating it goes, sometimes you have to look at the immediate causes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I believe Dr. Ramkumar mentioned that in the classes. There is the immediate cause, and then there is the distant cause, which is the karma. The immediate cause can be these things Arun mentioned. The main thing to notice is that people have a deep inquiring nature when it comes to why am I suffering? It's like, why me? Why now? When is it going to end? So there has to be a deep system to answer those questions. It's almost like the questions get deeper as the suffering loads on. So suffering is obviously a path to bring us into deep questioning. And it's good that a system like the Vedic system is there, alongside a medical system that can help us greatly if we have a car crash, the acute care, surgical, pharmaceutical system, but they don't answer some of these more deep questions. So the nature of questioning is also healing. So the next question is, what is the relationship between yoga, Ayurveda, and Vedanta? Mm-hmm. Anybody else would like to add to that? So Swami Sita said the doctor just answered that. You want to hear more, Rukmini? We've had a big weekend, haven't we? Easter, Passover. It's like, you think you're tired, they're tired.
I give a story.
A story, okay, good.
So the story is one lady that is the daughter of one of the main teacher and supporter in Vietnam, and she worked at the bank. She has 2 kids, married, have a normal life, a very positive person, and then she found herself with cancer, breast cancer, So she came to me, and you know, I checked. I know astrology, so I checked her chart. There's nothing really very clear because she's very positive, and she has a good chart. And so they are asking what should they do. Should they go through this chemotherapy and so on? So I cannot say no. Yeah, but I cannot also, you know. So I should let them decide. So then she went to have the treatment. Chemotherapy. How many rounds she did? I think a few rounds, 4 to 5 rounds or something. She lose all her hair. She become emaciated and like very sad, and you know. And then I myself at that time, it happened to be that I was at the Vajragram, the Ayurvedic healing village, Dr. Ramkumar. And then I just talked to him like this person. Is it? Yeah. No, she came before. She came before to Vajragram to do Panchakarma. So it's about 1 month or something. And then she go back to do the treatment again. And then it happened, let's talk about karma, right? So it happened that day, and I talked to Dr. Ramkumar, and Dr. Ramkumar just say on top of his head like this, that there is a conference that he's going to in Malaysia about cancer. So, you know, so why don't you invite her to come? And I can talk to her, and she will see many doctors there about cancer and so on. So then I contact them. And it happens so that she has holiday. It happens so that the sister that can speak English can go with her. Everything happened just like this. And she came to the conference. She came to the conference and she was very impressed because many people talk, many doctors talk, and many also patients talk about, you know, cancer and how they heal. And then so they feel very empowered. So the doctor say to her that she doesn't have to continue with her course of treatment. And then the thing is this, the doctor said she doesn't have to continue the course of treatment because unless it is some hereditary thing. Yeah? He did say that, unless the hereditary. And then so she come back and she quit. But the thing is, her mother has cancer, but she herself did not know or forgot. You see? So the idea is she quit. And then she quit also her job. She has a big job in the bank. And then she went to the ashram. She stayed there for 2 months. She took TTC. She stayed after. She took the Vedanta course I was teaching. And I did not want her to take Vedanta course, actually. Because, you know, I considered that she just recover and anything too much is too much. So take it easy. Yoga is good enough. Living in nature is good. Everything is good. Routine is good. Now, you know, you take a Vedanta course that says that, you know, you're not the body, you're not the mind. And all this, and a self-inquiry, you know. What did you do? What did you think? Why don't you think about this, that? Ooh. So then I thought that the first day when she showed up, and I said, I'm not sure that you should take the course. And so then I asked her a few questions, and I feel just like very borderline. You see, when I talk about karma, very borderline that she might be okay. So I let her sit in, and she did all the inquiry. I mean, go very deep into her personal story, and then remember, certain time when she had trauma, certain time when she went through bankruptcy or who knows what, and she talked a lot. And then she finished. It's about 2 months. She go home. She went to her doctor. The doctor checked her. Absolutely says no cancer. Completely healed. And then before that, she has a liver disease, right? What liver disease? Hepatitis, yeah. She has hepatitis. She has liver disease for 5 years. At the same time of cancer, but for 5 years, the hepatitis. And then when she checked for cancer, that everything is gone, no cancer, but also the hepatitis is completely gone. So the doctor was very impressed. So her doctor, hepatitis doctor, came to the ashram and bring his father, his mother, and everybody come to the ashram. So this is one of the case. Yeah. So you don't really know. So this is a relationship between Ayurveda, yoga, and Vedanta in her case. But I think everything helped. The Ayurveda, the Panchakarma help, the support system, seeing other people, they testify. It also help get out of her own personal environment, isolated, working, and family. She wanted to be vegetarian. Family opposed her to be vegetarian, said that she's sick, she should not be vegetarian. And then she should keep that job because, it's a high-paying job. And then finally, when everything, and she quit, and she go and do TTC, stay after, do Vedanta. So everything add all together, and she completely healed. A happy person now.
Yeah. I don't need it. So it's a beautiful story, and I do think, like all things in life, it takes some investment. And I think one of the things that we've been damaged by is this instant fix for the things that are wrong with us. And what I've seen generally is that sometimes disease brings us to take a little time out. So it may be 2, 3, 4 weeks, but I'd say a month is a good amount of time to come out from your life and go through some kind of practices and study, and that will change the course of your life. So well done for being here for your month of teacher training course. ATTC, you've already been here and you've come back again, so you're on the fast track, you're on the right path. And it's certainly what I've done for healing is in a big part of the work we do in Yoga of Recovery is taking people over to India to go through a month of detoxification process, the Panchakarma. And in that month, the physical is being dealt with, but people have a lot of time for the other things to come up, and they have the safety in which to inquire and investigate and go deeper when life isn't knocking at their door demanding things every day or several times a day. So I think it takes a period of quiet contemplation to get to the deeper reasons and causes and karmas. And it often takes a trusted friend, maybe not even a therapist, but a trusted someone to be there to share that story with, to work through it. Okay, so thank you for that. There's another question, and these were all for Swami Sita. So there's a few of them. Please provide a little context of why the institute was created, when it started, how many students, etc. This is the Sivananda Institute of Health and Yoga.
The name Sivananda Institute of Health and Yoga is from Swami Vishnudevananda. And in India, they use it, Sivananda Institute of Health. We never really use it here in the West, so we call it Well-Being Center. We didn't use the big name. And then when I came up with the idea of the health education program, so we cannot say Sivananda Yoga Vedanta Center, Yeah, it's because it scared people. People don't understand what is Vedanta, and so that's how we adopt the name Sivananda Yoga. We call SIHI, Sivananda Yoga Health.
Sivananda Institute.
Sivananda Institute of Health and Yoga. So that's how it comes. So now you ask how many students. I would say 40 students in the West.
Mm-hmm. So the next part, how much overlap is there with the trainings given in TTC and ATTC?
You know, this kind of knowledge you cannot just learn only one time. Hear one time and say, I know it. It's not like that. You know, my life is I hear again and again and again the 5 points of 4 paths of yoga, and every year, every time is something different. So overlapping, yes, of course, because that's a fundamental knowledge. We always repeat the same thing. But at the same time, it's very specific. It's deeper. Everything goes deeper. So to say that it's overlapping, I would say no. But it's the same knowledge, deeper.
Mm-hmm. Similar question, is there a fast track program for TTC graduates? It's a prerequisite.
The prerequisite of the health educator program is 200 hours teacher's training course. Fast track, I don't know. I don't think so. I think you have to do the same. You know, wake up and meditate and go through and think about this over and over and over again. It's a different practice. There's one is a practice for group, you're teaching, and in general, the yoga students are considered to be, healthy people. And here, you are dealing with individual cases of people that have condition, so you have to adapt. So it's different. The angle of view is different. It's an individual approach. Okay?
Yeah, and can I just say this? Right now, our students are sitting at their computers in the Zoom classrooms, and Swami Vishnudevananda is teaching them. So the students in China and Vietnam and America and Bahamas are in the classroom right now, distance learning. So it's a pretty phenomenal offering that you have. We teach into Zoom, and we're being simultaneously translated into Chinese and Vietnamese and into other Zoom classrooms all together. And this is a quick brainstorming session with Swami Sita that puts that into place. It's quite extraordinary, really. So the students are actively studying right at this moment, distance learning. Okay, so the number 4 part of this, and I'm sorry if we don't fully know the answer to this, is the training recognized in Canada, e.g., and I think it's Naturopath Therapist Association, so that insurance companies will cover the session. So I want to answer this because I go to the Symposium on Yoga Therapy and Research every year, which is run by the International Association of Yoga Therapists. So there's the word international. And there is international as the students that show up in their country join that organization and work for the unification of the offering. And the stronger that we can become in the unity, then the more likely we're going to be heard. And that IAYT is represented at things like the National Conference on Complementary and Alternative Medicine. So they are representing us at a national level and also an international level. So members come from Japan and Canada and Brazil and Sweden and Germany. And we're going to learn from countries that have got coverage from the health insurances in each nation, we can learn different things from them. And so that's active work that's going on. So as satsanga is appropriate and important, so is associating at a professional level with people who want to make inroads into what might be an unfriendly field. But I also think if people have a situation that you're dealing with at the allopathic care level, then do call up your provider and ask, where's my yoga therapist? Where can I meet my yoga therapist? So create the demand for it too. Don't always just ask, what will you give me? Tell them what you want. And I heard someone who was dealing with breast cancer, and she considered her insurance company to be part of her team, so she would call them up and she would make requests about who she wanted on her team for the care. And she dealt with it in a very strong way, and she felt that she could go through the system. So I think we do need to create this, and it is good to be part of the associations. Arun, do you want to add anything to that? Maybe not for Canada, but just generally, insurance companies covering sessions. Okay. He is also part of the National Ayurvedic Medical Association and the IAYT. Okay, so there is one last request, which was, could an information session be organised for people potentially interested to take a training at the Sivananda Institute of Yoga and Health here at the ashram? So the answer to that is yes. It's at 1 o'clock tomorrow, which is Tuesday. And we're going to sit at the boutique tables. And we were thinking that's TTC break time, but what is it tomorrow? Yes.
Each time.
So is it a good time, or is 1 o'clock? We'll do it at 1 o'clock. So come and see us then. We'll be at the boutique. Now, does anybody have anything else to add? Do you want to? That's all the questions. Mm-hmm. You've all been quite quiet, really, compared to the last panel.
I want to say something.
Oh, uh-huh.
I like to add that this program, Yoga Health Educator, can be reproduced in any country. As far as we that it comes from a Sivananda lineage, so we understand the methodology and the teaching and the linking and the connection. So in Canada, if there's a program similar, it can be taught there or any other country. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then if I can just say, I always ask this question about yoga therapy to the people that I meet, so a room like you, and I would ask the question, who has used yoga therapeutically in their life? Can you give me a show of hands? And did you ever think, I wanted to walk into the medical clinic and find it there? Was that a necessity of yours? Mm-hmm. Because I think there's a different placement. A lot of people are kind of happy to find some different type of care outside of the medical. It brings on a different sense of self. It brings in a different conversation. It brings in more possibilities. Even in a social aspect, it brings in the capacity to go and stay at a place without being in a clinic or a hospital. So I've always felt that there's also a great role to play for yoga health educators, not absolutely within the medical systems, but within our communities. And there's lots of places that you could just go and educate people about health and yoga and how it fits as a system alongside the medicine that people might have available to them or not available to them. So there's really good there's good conversations that can have. I'm training people in yoga of recovery, and the medicine hasn't been that helpful for addiction over several decades, and there's always an attempt to become more helpful. But definitely people from our particular symptoms, disease, they'll look for their community, and they'll show up in places like yoga studios to have conversations about what this suffering is about. I don't really need you to cure it for me. I just need to share something about it. I need to hear other people share, and I need to find a common solution. So that's what I think is a big part of yoga health education also, those grassroots community group conversations where I like to say that you don't actually need a disease to show up and talk about health, which is let's reach people when they're still quite well also, and teach them how to use the tools for health and wealth, as Swami Vishnu would say. And you mentioned that too, that you're training us to use and find the spirituality and the mental stability in both health and sickness. Mm-hmm.
So I tell another story. So this is a man who came to the ashram. He's from somewhere in U.S. He came to the ashram in Vietnam just recently, in January. So he's overweight, and he has diabetes, heart disease, and out of despair, so he left his job. He's a big businessman. He owns many restaurants. He has children. He has wife. He has big house, very established in his life. And but he has disease. So out of despair, he decided that he's going to travel. He's going to quit temporarily everything, and he's going to travel. He got his motorcycle, and he's going to tour Southeast Asia. His origin was Vietnamese. So that's how he ended up in the ashram, not planning, but through going visit a little bit some Buddhist group, monastery, something, and then he came to the ashram, and he stayed there for more than a month. And he practiced yoga every day. He's a big man, but he do everything, every class, every satsang, and so his blood sugar really go down, and he lose weight. And the main thing is he look very happy. He's happier and happier. He's doing karma yoga, everything, cleaning and working hard and friendly with everybody. You see a different person. You see a renewed person, not a desperate person that came. So that was it. So we asked him what if he want to share, and he said he shared a little bit his story, and he said the one thing is that please, nobody should do like me. Please don't do like me. That means work for the family, and the family did not know that he worked so hard until he ruined his health. So out of attachment, he did that, and then when he got sick, nobody really understand why he's sick, and then so he left, but he's still very attached to the family. So, he's a family man. So, what do we say? So I said to him, carefully, so he said he will come back and he'll continue to meditate. Yeah. So I said, maybe you should build a little meditation hut in the backyard of your house, and you can meditate by yourself alone. Is it okay? I just say like this, because the idea is he would have to detach from his family attachment. That was the reason for him to work so hard and the reason for him to ruin his health. But the family did not understand. He cannot assert himself. And so I slowly suggest that he need to have time for himself. So, and he accepted the idea. So I congratulate him for traveling on his motorcycle, even though in the back of my mind, I don't think it's the right thing to do. For a person, recovering and want to have a steady lifestyle, then Ayurvedic wise, we want them to have a routine, wake up a certain time, sleep a certain time, eat certain food. But I said to him that it's a good thing for you to break up with the routine, the family and everything, and travel on your motorcycle and find freedom. So I said to him. So he's happy. But I said to him, don't travel too long, just a little bit. And then you go back and you build your cabin there in your backyard and you continue to practice and later come visit the ashram. So that's called yoga health education, okay? Nothing extraordinary that we say or do. We have to see the condition of the person, how ready the person is to change. You insert a few ideas in their life. If you have a chance, then you would support the person to continue with his yoga journey, his regular routine or discipline, and then you suggest a little bit the idea that he need to spend time for himself. So that's in the beginning. And then maybe if he come back and so on, things would change. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we think it's something big, it's just common sense, but sometimes people need help to make the change. Okay?
Okay, so it's time to close, and we thought we would like to close with a message from Swami Sivananda. So we've been 9 days talking about this. Thanks for coming to the workshops, your participation, your questions. We'll be here, boutique tables tomorrow. Thank you also to Swami Brahmananda, Swami Hridyananda and Rukmini, who gave satsangs also, and Dr. Jane and Dr. Mala Cunningham, who were here with us earlier. Thank you to our esteemed members of this panel. And we take a reading so that Swami Sivananda will close this symposium. I'm told to give it to you, Swami Dharma.
First April 1944. Beloved Ram.
In Prem.
In Prem, the heart is softened more markedly. Prem is the abode of all bliss. It is the one thing needed. It is the culmination of bhakti. The love of Prem is the lane of Prem is extremely narrow indeed. It cannot contain two. Okay, it cannot contain two. Where there is I, the Lord is not. Where there is the Lord, this I ceases to be. May you abide in Prem, Shivananda. Prem is devotion. It's pure love. So where there is Prem, there is no sense of ego or I, and it's the universal self.